Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians. Galatians is the New Testament. Ephesians. Okay. Thank you. Everybody can see? Okay? All right, great. Before I begin, let me give us a chance to welcome someone here for the first time. You might have noticed she's sitting in the front. Her name is Tomoko? Yeah. Tomoko, yeah. First time that she's in the front row. She came to worship. So. Tomoko. I think she's from Kyoto originally, and she's found a job here. And actually, she just came last week after having spent 5 years in England. Is that right? Okay. So when you have a chance, please say hello to Tomoko after the service. Welcome, Tomoko. All right. Okay. Some of you know that I like to listen to R&B music, hip-hop music. Maybe some of you don't know that. Pastor Kevin, he's our rock and roll pastor. And Pastor Hiroshi, he's our Enka pastor. So I guess I'm the hip-hop pastor. So back in the 1990s, a song came out that I really liked. I'm not a big fan of the band that made the song, but I like the song and I respect their music. And the title of the song is Get Up, Get Out, and Do Something. So let's practice. Repeat after me. Get up.
Get up.
Get out. Don't speak here. Get out.
Get out.
And do something.
Do something.
All right, once more. Get up, get out, and do something. Ready to go. Get up, get out, and do something. Great. As Christians, our relationships with other Christians, our things we do in the church, that's called our ministry. The way you serve in the church, your activity when you come, the things you do to help build up this church or the family of God through your words, through your actions, through your emails, your prayers, the way you print, counseling, playing music, with children, all of the things that involve people in the family of God, that is your ministry. And every Christian has a ministry. Also, every Christian has a mission. Our relationships with our friends, our family, our co-workers, our students, our teachers, chat room members, fan club members, anyone who is not a Christian, your relationship with them, that is called your mission. Now, people like Matt and Misty Sargent, we prayed for them. They've been in our bulletin many times. They've come here to plant churches, to build churches in houses like this in a city, or people like John Clenenden and his wife Kyoko. They're with Campus Crusade for Christ, and they're here as missionaries. They're going to give the gospel to Shudo University, Hiroshima University, and other campuses. And people like Bill Huff and his family, they opened up the church in Hatkaichi Grace Church. They're here as missionaries. On their visa, this stamp is missionary, Sankyoshi. But it's not your visa that makes you a missionary. It is your faith that God sent Jesus Christ to set people free. That's what makes you a missionary. That's your belief. It's your belief that man cannot live on bread or rice or ramen alone, but on Jesus, the bread of life. That belief makes you a missionary. It's your belief that it's not your cell phone or it's not the Ikebana Club or Pachinko that makes you happy, but it's becoming more like Jesus in your soul and in your mind. That's what makes you a missionary. So when we talk with non-Christians about our relationship with Jesus, when we explain the meaning of the cross, or when we give out a Christian pamphlet, or when we answer our students or our friends' questions about Jesus and the Bible, when you tell someone your testimony, you are being a missionary, and you are fulfilling your missions. Every Christian has a mission. And if you are not doing something that fulfills your mission, then you have to get up, get out, and do something. Okay. Now, in the past few weeks, I've been preaching on mission, sharing our faith and things that we would call our missions. But as I have been preparing for these sermons in the series, I've done so with the understanding that I am also a student of this as well. I may be teaching things and sharing my meditations from what I've studied in the Bible, but please understand that when it comes to talking about my faith or explaining things about Jesus Christ, I'm very hesitant, and I get nervous, just like anybody else. Maybe it's not for you, maybe it's natural for you, easy for you to talk about Jesus with anybody on the street, but for me, it's hard, very hard. And why is it hard? Why do I hesitate? And, where does this anxiety come from? It's very simple. It's fear. I'm afraid. Afraid of what? Well, rejection. I'm afraid of being insulted, being laughed at, being ridiculed. I work so hard to look cool, and be smart, but I'm afraid to look foolish and to be insulted by people. Now, in those situations, when I find myself afraid or in fear, I just remember Scripture. And one Scripture that comes to mind is one of the first Scriptures that I memorized when I was in high school, and that is our Scripture for today, Ephesians 6:19-20. And Paul is in prison. That's why he says, I am an ambassador in chains. He is in jail. And he's writing this letter in jail to a church in Ephesus. And so he's asking them, please pray also for me, that whenever I open my mouth, words may be given me so that I will fearlessly make known the mystery of the gospel, for which I am an ambassador in chains. Pray that I may declare it fearlessly as I should. Yeah, fearlessly. So the message of today is our fearless mission. Fearless mission. Yeah, Paul was afraid, just like a normal person would be afraid to share his faith. Why was he afraid? Well, Paul, at this time when he wrote the letter, he was in prison, and coming soon was his chance to speak to Caesar himself. He was going to speak to Caesar and talk about why he had been preaching Jesus. And so he was afraid, which for me is kind of strange because we're talking about Paul. Paul was an amazing man. He saw Jesus. He heard Jesus' voice. I mean, he's done miracles. He's seen people get healed, people who just touch his handkerchief were healed. I mean, he talks to God, and he hears his voice. How could he be afraid? He talked to hundreds of people in high places of authority. He's talked to religious people, non-religious people. You know, this is Paul. And he's been in riots. He's been beaten. He's been whipped. You know, he's been in jail. But he's afraid. This is amazing to me. All that experience he has, still he's afraid. Maybe you could relate to that. You can have all this experience, and here in this place, you feel comfortable and there is no fear. But why is it when we go home or when we talk to someone, you know, one of our friends, it's like, you know, the fear kind of takes over sometimes. It's not for you, then it does for me. So that was kind of a mystery for me, and I wanted to meditate on that. And, well, Paul, his response is simple. Pray for me. Pray for me. And it's so important that he says, do it twice. You know, pray that I would do it fearlessly. And I want to talk about that word fearlessly. Fearlessly, in the Greek, it's two words. The first, it's a combination of two words. So the first word is all, means all. And the second word means speech. All of speech. So the idea is when the attitude you have when you are at home and you are completely at home. And when you're at home, completely at rest, you speak freely. You don't care what other people will think because you're you, and no one will judge you. And so it's that attitude that you can say anything because you're at home. And so that word in the Greek, it became known as boldness or fearlessness. You don't care, you just talk. It's fearless. A few weeks ago, I took a trip to Totori for a basketball tournament. Some of you know I'm on a basketball team, and we were there for 2 days, and we were there 3 days. We stayed one night in a business hotel. And on the first floor of the business hotel, there's kind of a lobby, a counter, and next to that, there's an area where they serve breakfast. Very simple breakfast, just miso soup and onigiri, I think, right? Just rice. It's good. And there's some tables there. And so in the morning, my team and I, we met in the lobby, and we're eating our breakfast. And my team has some married couples, some young families. They have small children. And one of this family, they were eating downstairs with us, and everybody, the whole, lobby there at the business hotel. There's people all over the place, and we're eating, just relaxing before our game. And I'll never forget little Masato. Masato is maybe, 1 year old, 2 years old, maybe 2 years old. And he went to the toilet with his mother and his little brother. And we're all eating, just, enjoying our breakfast. And Masato comes running out, "Papa, Papa!" And in Japanese, he says, "Papa, I was able to do a little poo-poo." Real loud, right in front of the whole lobby. And everybody's like, "What?" And I thought, yeah, that's fearless. He doesn't care what everybody else is thinking, right? He's just talking to his papa, and he's telling him, I just let one rip. But yeah, I think that's the idea of fearlessness, is that we don't care who's saying what to us. But what matters is we're communicating with somebody that we feel at home. That's what Paul wanted, is that God, the Father is with us, and we can say anything we want to be fearless. And he was saying, please pray that I would have that spirit. Paul, it's funny, when I read about his story and the great things he did, he himself said he's a weak person. And his critics said, when you're face-to-face with Paul, he's very weak and timid. But in his letters, he's very strong. So Paul knew he was kind of a weak and timid guy. He was aware of that. But he responded, or the way he reacted to that weakness is simple. He just said, I need prayer, and I need strength from God. And he knew it. He said, you know what? I don't even care about all these great things I did. I can talk about it. I've seen amazing things. But more important than that, I've seen God do greater things through my weaknesses. And he said, I'm glad you talked about that. 2 Corinthians chapter 12 says, that I will gladly boast about my weaknesses. Because he said his grace was sufficient for me. Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about my personal experience with fear and sharing my faith with people. I came to the point where I was in college and I realized, I'm just afraid. I don't like talking to people about my faith. And I decided I need to get up, get out, and do something about this. I was sick of it. And so I started praying. I said, Lord, please give me, one, fearlessness, and two, what Paul had. Lord, I need words. Whenever I open my mouth, I want to be able to say what I want to say. So I prayed this to the Lord. And, a couple of months later, my pastor, Pastor Rich, he was a very good guy, and he took me under his wing, and he trained me simply to be able to share my faith with anybody. I mean, anybody. First, he made me study this book, just a little book about the basics, how to share my faith. And first, I had to practice what I would say. If I had 2 minutes with somebody, how do I tell my testimony? 2 minutes. And I practiced. I said, okay, you ready? I said, ready for what? He said, we're going to go and do it. I said, are you serious? I said, let's go. And he took me out. We went to the street, my hometown, San Pedro, and we walked around the street. And we just found somebody on the street just waiting for something, and we said, okay, this is what you do. And we just talked to people on the street about our faith. And that was the craziest thing I had ever done up to that point. But he taught me how to do it. And after that, I see that God was building fearlessness, boldness. And I became more comfortable with that. And I started doing it more. And when I was at Biola University, my college, I said, okay, I need to get up and do something about this. And I didn't start, but I was part of the beginning of the evangelism team. We were just, maybe 4 or 5 people on Friday night. Instead of a basketball game, we wanted to go to the streets and just talk to anybody, about our faith, tell our testimony. And I realized something that really impacted me. But it taught me important things about how to talk to people, how to explain my faith. But most importantly, it taught me that I need to face my fear. I need my fear, but run to the Lord to give me strength despite my fears. And that was the biggest blessing up until that point for me. And I realized that most of the people I met, they didn't care for my testimony, they didn't care for my witness. But I learned, the Lord said, you know what, it's not you they are rejecting. It says in 1 Samuel chapter 8, it says, they're not rejecting you, but they're rejecting me as their king. So it's not that, of course, when I share my faith, I want people to know, I want them to become a Christian, give their life to Jesus. But I also understand that the purpose of sharing my faith is just that, just to share my faith and give them a chance to hear the gospel. That's it, whatever it takes. But that was in America. That was Southern California, Los Angeles. And now I'm here in Hiroshima. And in fact, this week, is my 7th-year anniversary. I came to Hiroshima this week, 7 years ago, 1999. And, yeah, 7 years. And in those 7 years, I've seen 2 people that I've invited to church or my school become Christians and baptized. 7 years, 2 people. Now, I'm not saying I wasted my time for 7 years. It's not a waste. 2 people is great. I'll take that better than nothing. But I believe God made me for more. I believe God makes us for more. And it's been great. I'll admit, 7 years of really great, fruitful ministry. I've seen some wonderful things that God's done, not just in Mitaki, but in other churches. The mountain worship thing, the English service growing, other people getting baptized. I've seen wonderful ministry in the last 7 years. But I want the next 7 years. Not just to be fruitful ministry, but I want it to be fearless mission. Not just for myself, but really for this church. And that's my prayer for the next coming years. It's time to get up, get out, do something about my mission. I pray that that's not just mine, but our prayer. So that's why I'm sharing this series with us. So, shall we pray?